Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be my response to Darcy, Six Strings Nine Lives. His Who's Your Eddie? I think that's what it was. Contest where basically he just wanted us to show our six favorite Eddie images. For those maybe who don't know, I mean, I'm sure everybody probably does, but maybe there are a couple people watching this that don't. Iron Maiden is a world-renowned metal band that's been around for decades now, and their character, is basically a guy called Eddie, a kind of somewhat demon, somewhat humanoid, somewhat a little bit of everything kind of character. But they use different versions or different images of him in all of their album artwork, and they've done it for, again, decades now. So he's really kind of probably one of, I would say probably the most well-known mascot of any, I wouldn't say metal band, but really kind of any band, period. Not to mention, to some degree, you can almost label him as a mascot of metal in general, but, certainly, of course, Iron Maiden. So there's just tons of images of him out there, and we're just going to kind of share six of my favorites. So in no particular order, except for the last one, I'm going to save my favorite one for last. I think you also did too mention that if you want us to share like maybe how the images affected us, or thoughts or anything like that, there were kind of two that came to mind that I'll share there. But the first one I'm going to show here is Cyborg Eddie from Somewhere in Time. And I'm going to show this one first because this was the first Eddie image that I ever saw. A friend of mine handed me this tape, and it was just kind of all over. And I got the tape before I was really into, thrash metal, early Maiden, all that kind of stuff. I was still in my hair metal and hip hop kind of phase. But I'll never forget, and this kind of goes back to, talking a little bit about how the images affected me, especially back then. I remember my friend gave me that tape, and all I could think about was, I can't wait to get home to listen to this. Does not matter what it sounds like, I am going to like this band and this album. Like, it was a given. The image had already told me I have to like this band and this album. So I just, thank goodness it was an Iron Maiden album that did that, and this was my introduction to them, and still today, song for song, my favorite album by them. So Cyborg Eddie was huge. And I even got these two gigantic pieces of poster board because I was a little bit of an artist back when I was younger, and I drew this, almost life-size version of this that I had hanging on my bedroom door, and I thought it was like the coolest piece of artwork I'd ever done in my life. But I wish I still had it. So, but yeah, that's Cyborg Eddie. I think the second thing I'll say too, I'll just go ahead and throw it in right here, of what I think about the images of Maiden, of Eddie, is the fact that it got so big that it actually took a turn where it went from, this kind of devil scariest thing holding an axe and all the other type of, evilish type of things that came from the images. And it grew so big, and it got so common, and it got so ingrained in what Iron Maiden was. To me, it's like Eddie magically went from the demon you're supposed to fear to your friend. It's like when you see an image of Eddie right now, at least for me, I don't see evil. I don't even see like darkness anymore inside of the images. But it's more so like, hey, if I was ever in some type of situation and Eddie showed up on the scene, he's gonna be on my side. Like he's a buddy kind of thing. And again, I think it's just a testament to where it's grown with Maiden. I mean, you can only imagine if Iron Maiden came out with a new album and there was no Eddie on the cover, like we would have an issue with that. Like, what the where's Eddie? That type of thing. That's usually kind of the things I say about people or things I actually like or care about, or that I consider friends or good. When I'm worried about where is it I want them, I want that here, as opposed to, having an issue if they're not there. So again, just kind of my general thoughts on how much the Eddie image has developed over time. But let me show you number 2, which is actually out of this book, which is Iron Maiden: The Ultimate Unauthorized History of the Beast. Kind of a cool book, goes through a lot of Maiden history and all that type of good stuff. And my next one is going to be Aces High, the single. So Pilot Eddie, definitely one of my favorites, and I don't have that single right now, which kind of sucks. But the next one is going to be Live Eddie, which I always refer to as Harris Eddie, which I think is kind of cool, with the bass guitar coming with his foot up on the monitor and all that cool stuff. So that's always been one of my favorite images. And kind of a quick funny story about that. My ex bought her that t-shirt, all just plain black with just that Eddie on the front of it. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So we were out one time and she's wearing the t-shirt and she made a comment. She was like, "Why do you keep staring at my chest?" And I was like, I'm actually staring at the Eddie. And it was like no joke and no lie. It's like the last thought in my head had anything to do with your chest or anything else. It was that freaking Eddie I couldn't take my eyes off, because I thought it was just the coolest thing in the world after I bought it for her. So, that has to be one of my favorite images if it makes me completely overlook the boobs that it's sitting on top of. I haven't thought about that in a while. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite Eddies there. Next, we're going to go with Can I Play With Madness? Single. Another kind of neat Eddie on the back, but just show that. But still, definitely like that one as well, because this is kind of a nice version of the Cyborg Eddie. It was kind of hard not to pull out Brave New World, because that Eddie coming through the clouds was kind of cool as well. But this is one I think everyone, for the most part, is kind of showing, which is Killers. And this is just kind of the first quintessential Eddie. This is kind of when Eddie really took his final shape, if you will, because of course early on in their career it was a little bit different. It's still early, only second album or whatever, but this is kind of when Eddie really became Eddie in my mind. So again, very impactful cover there. And last but not least, my sixth one, which is my favorite, absolute favorite Eddie, is this one right here, which of course is the Trooper. I think that is the most awesome Eddie ever. Remember, I had all these posters back in high school, at Phantom of the Opera and, Somewhere in Time, and a few others as well. But it was always the Trooper that just had me sitting there looking. And it's just something that was just so cool about that, with the ripped up British flag and, holding that sword in the other hand. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, that's just awesome. That's freaking awesome. So anyway, there you go, VC. There you go, Darcy. Those are the 6 Eddies that I picked. Great contest idea. As always, let me know what you guys think, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, VC.